this meeting to order. Roll call. Looks like all of our council members are here except for, well, Todd.
Yeah.
Megan's online and Dr. Lewis is online.
Online.
Yep. Okay, which means we do have a quorum. All right, first item on the agenda to approve the previous meeting minutes.
So moved.
All right, do you have any questions or comments on the meeting minutes for June 3rd? All right, all those in favor say hi. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Wow, can you tell what kind of week I've had? The highs have it. Item 4, approved meeting agenda.
So moved again.
Second,
All right,
Dan Hansen with an O.
thank you. Any questions on the agenda? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Opposed? The motion carries. Item 5, our update from Scott Richard, EMS coordinator.
Okay, so first item is I wanted to have some discussion with this council about the possibility of putting the EMS vehicle and having me base out of Harcourt Fire Department. I thought we would maybe just have the discussion. The reason why we chose that, and actually Ryan Bogue, who I think is online, it was initially his idea and I loved it because it's kind of equal distance between Gowrie and Dayton down there. And so when I get to the point where I'm running ambulance calls with the EMS vehicle, the county EMS vehicle, that is, I think, the ideal location geographically for that vehicle for me to respond, whether it be Dayton or Gowrie or that whole southern area there. So part of that is when I talked to Ryan, he said that they are in the process of working on trying to maybe do a remodel of a room that's next to their apparatus bay at their fire department, where they are going to put a meeting room for their monthly meetings, because right now they're kind of meeting in their apparatus bay, just they take some folding tables out. And so they're going to get a more kind of formalized meeting room there. And then part of that could be, we could put an office in there. It wouldn't have to be a very big one, just enough to fit me in a desk. So that I could kind of base out of there, do all of my administrative work, and then respond to calls as they come in. The proposal I had come up with, and I just literally arbitrarily picked the number 5,000. I have no idea. We'll have to talk to Ryan. He might have some more information about what the cost estimate quotes are going to be for that remodel. But I thought it would be appropriate for us to maybe offer to pay at least 5,000 towards that remodel to get me an office there. To see what, I just wanted to see what this council thought of that. If that's a direction we want to go, if there's any objections to it or anybody has other ideas. I just thought I'd throw it out there for discussion and to see what you think.
I have a question, and maybe this one's dumb. Sorry, I'm just watching Matt. I'm wondering, where are you based out of right now? Maybe that's a dumb question, but where have you been basing out of?
The Webster County Courthouse. And the vehicle, I don't have the emergency response vehicle up and running yet. That's going to take a while. It might be September or October until I'm equipped to actually respond to medical calls. Because I have to get the medications and all the advanced life support equipment, the heart monitors, all the advanced life support gear, airway stuff. And there's a lot that has to go into that. I have to get agreements signed with the pharmacy to process medications, and some of that I'm going to ride on the coattails of Fort Dodge Fire, and I'll, get the equipment through there. But it'll be probably September or October before I have that vehicle ready to actually respond to medical emergencies. So right now I am just basing out of here at the courthouse. But I'm not, like I
Okay.
said, I'm not responding to calls right now.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
I don't know if Ryan, can you hear us? Can you just give us a little synopsis of what you're, like, do you think that's enough? What are you trying to accomplish with it? You know, that sort of thing. I'm guessing you're the one that knows the most about all of this.
I can give you a little bit. I've had a discussion with the city council, about it. There's really no opposition into it. The problem is for this fiscal year, there is no funding available for the city to contribute anything. So the earliest renovations could be July of 27, which, I mean, in the meantime, that gives us time to actually get estimates and put a proposal together for the city to open it up to bids. So in the meantime, that's what we're going to be doing, is just trying to gather some of that. So as far as dollar amount, I can't really tell you if that's,
Okay.
going to cover 20%, 10%. I don't really know right now. Hopefully I will in a few months.
We're just kind of in the planning phase right now, I guess, but. What's that? Probably. But does anybody else have any strong feelings about that or?
What were you gonna do in the meantime, Scott, as far as where you're gonna, I mean, you're just gonna stay here at the courthouse?
Yeah. I've gotten invitations from both Dayton and Gowrie to base out of there in the meantime. So,
Right.
if this isn't set up by the time, and obviously it won't be probably, set up by the time, I'm able to respond to medical emergency calls, I can go sit at either Gowrie or Dayton, and I'll probably just kind of flip back and forth, day to day and sit there. And they've got table space for me to work, and that's all I need. So in the meantime, until that is set up, I'll probably be either in Dayton or Gowrie.
Okay.
But until then, I'm just gonna base out of here, because I'm only doing administrative stuff right now, really.
Right.
So my question is, this is Barb. Sorry. I asked Matt over here and he filled me in on one of them. If you would like to pay Harcourt $5,000, are you suggesting you're gonna pay Gowrie and Dayton X amount of dollars for using theirs also?
Gary didn't either.
Just asking, I just want to be straight, honest and open.
Yeah. Well, at both Dayton and Gowrie, there isn't, the 5,000 would be specifically for the remodel. That's what it's for. Dayton and Gowrie, we wouldn't need to do any remodel. It would be just putting, in Gowrie, they've got space for if I have that vehicle up and running, I would need to put it in their apparatus bay in Gowrie. Because they've got room there. And there's medications and IV fluids that would need to be warm and in an ambulance bay like they've got. But yeah, there was no remodel at either one of those locations, and that's what the $5,000 would be for. So we weren't planning on offering money to Gowrie and Dayton, but
I mean, I was just asking,
Yeah.
because I mean, transparency is the
Well, and I would assume the
Sure.
money is gonna
Yeah.
come from what would have been your salary in fiscal 26.
Correct.
Now that it's 27.
Yeah.
We need to talk to Darren Driscoll and see if there's some sort of a contract or a lease that we need to write up. Not saying that this would happen, but what would be stopping Harcourt from accepting this $5,000 payment for the remodel and then turning around and saying, sorry, we have to use it now, you can no longer. I'm not saying that they would do that, but do we need to legally get some sort of contract or lease in place so that doesn't happen?
That's all of these are very smart. So it sounds like we'll get more information from Ryan and Harcourt once we're a little closer, but it sounds like this board is amenable to that, right? Once we get a little closer to that, we can talk to Crystal, who's online, but I don't know if she has the answer to that. You can say if you do, Crystal. If not, don't worry about it. If the money can come from this past year's budget or not, now that it's over, I don't know. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
it can, Nikki. It
Okay.
just needs to be, Scott and I were kind of talking about it through email earlier. The same thing with each agency. If they didn't use the money, we just have to do an budget amendment to pull it into our Tyler system.
Okay, cool. So it sounds like we would need to know the exact cost that we're looking at, right, from Ryan and Harcourt. We would need to, I would agree with Cassie here that we would want to have some sort of legal tie to the space, whether it's lease or whatever. So talk to Darren about that, drawing the paperwork for that, and then going from there. Yeah, but it sounds like this council is amenable to that.
That like a one-time payment, or is it gonna be like a yearly fee? You know,
Whatever you want to do.
I mean, I'm just
Yeah.
asking, that's maybe
Good
one of the
points.
Darren questions and figure out what
Mhm.
next steps before we
Maybe wait to
decide.
see until we have an actual quote estimate number and
Yeah.
then kind of go with it then.
Cool.
Next on the list, and I see that there's another reference to this on the agenda, agenda item 8, discuss and approve the spending discretion. And my, under agenda item 5B is incidentals budget. It's kind of the same topic vaguely, roughly. And this came up because I've just had some incidental things that I need to pay for with the vehicle and just office supplies or some incidental things that I need. And I thought, well, I don't know if I have a budget really to work off of, or do I just pull that money out of the EMS essentials, like the stuff from last year, from my salary from last year. Maybe Crystal can speak to this. I don't know. She kind of already said that, we can do that a little bit. But do you want to give me some parameters with that? Like, I don't know. I know that the county, what is the county policy for departments? They need permission for spending over 4,999 or something like that, is it?
So Chris, oh, where'd she go?
We lost them.
Crystal?
I'm still here.
For discretionary spending, do we have anything, first of all, do we have anything in the budget for Scott or the EMS department? Secondly, what is the limit for county?
We do not have anything specific in the budget for Scott. I guess we didn't put a line item together, which that's easy to do. It's just figuring out how much we want budgeted for, how much you would want to pull from budget, and that would come, I believe, Matt, correct me if I'm wrong here, but that would come out or before the percentage for Fort Dodge, Dayton, and Gallery split. Was I right on that, Matt?
Yep.
And then I don't think there's anything specific for each department to get approval, as long as it's within their budget parameters.
Is there like a department head spending limit before it has to get an approval?
I don't think there's ever been one. I mean, obviously, I believe the bigger items that each department head kind of talks to somebody on the board at least before they do it, but other than that, as long as they budget for it, it's fine.
I guess I would like to have one so that I know.
We would like you to have one too, so you
Yeah.
don't have to come here for every little
Yes.
thing.
It seems like it would be more,
Clips, please.
seems like it would be more efficient.
I need a new pen.
yeah.
Yeah.
I need to buy donuts.
You want to just do 8 now, or do you want to wait until 8?
We have to wait until 8 because 5 is listed as an update and there's no action item for it.
So
On to
moving,
B. On to B and go to C.
so moving on then?
Yep.
All right. Item C is the fast stop fuel card. Speaking of incidental costs and things like that, I did get a fast stop fuel card. It's the same ones that the sheriff's department uses for their deputies. So it's a card and a account that I can use to buy gas for that EMS vehicle. And I'll probably have to work it out with Crystal and how I pay for that. I don't know if I just, when I get a monthly statement, do I just submit that as a claim, or I can work out those details with Crystal. But anyway, that is, I've got that in place now and we'll be using that. Item number D is the annual report, and there's a copy of, that you all got a copy of this Webster County EMS Essential Services Annual Planning Cycle. This is kind of going forward what I'm going to try and do. I'm probably, so for July, for this month, as you can see, annual EMS system report. I don't have that comprehensive report put together yet because I haven't really been here long enough to get data, collect data. I'm still working through navigating software systems with Image Trend and working with Christie on the Zerker stuff to get in there and pull data out of there, and several other things. But just kind of, this is what it's going to look like in the future. So next July, I'll probably have a really good comprehensive charts and graphs and little sparky things that blow up. I don't know, but it'll be much more comprehensive. This year will probably be just a brief overview of kind of what we're working on, what we're doing, but it will in the future include, an analysis summary of everything kind of going on with EMS in the county, like a state of EMS in the county, the compliance metrics for the 28E agreements, and making sure that, we're going to do the best we can to identify that everyone is complying with the requirements of the 28E agreements. And if they're not, how do we get them there? Just kind of what do we need to do to make sure we're compliant with all of that stuff. But that's going to include pulling a lot of data out of the dispatch system, the Image Trend system, and making sure all the numbers look right, and that's going to include, because part of the 2080 agreement is people are required to respond to 70% of their calls. And, if they're below that, what are we going to do to try and make sure they're going to be compliant, that kind of stuff. What can we do to improve their ability to respond? I don't know whether and that might include recruitment stuff. I don't know exactly what it's all going to look like yet because I don't have any of that data yet, but we are working on that. It's in the works. So in the future, that'll be a lot more comprehensive and give us a lot more information as to where we're at, kind of just along the lines of if we don't measure it, we can't improve it. So this is the measurement piece of that, identifying, where we're at with all that. So it'll be a little lean this year, but next year's will be a lot better. And
Get to the bottom of it and do the best. So great job.
that's the goal. And I got a lot of people helping me with that. Christie's been great. Crystal Lloyd has been fantastic. We do have numbers that Crystal worked up that gave me about, how much, what people have spent so far of their essential services money, what each department has spent, what they have left. I do have that from Crystal. If anyone wants to see it, maybe I can present that at the next meeting or something if we want to do that. Because that's kind of just, interesting to see for oversight purposes and, see where all that tax money is going and who's spending it. And they don't have to spend it. I mean, it rolls over, so there are some departments that are saving it for a bigger ticket item that costs more maybe than the 10,000 they get that year. If they get a big ticket item, they might need to save it up. I know some people are talking about saving it for an apparatus, putting it towards a vehicle and, but we're tracking all of that. And so that we know kind of where everyone's at with their spending and what they have left. Training. Oh, where am I? Oh, wrong one. Annual report, training is any questions on the annual report stuff or comments on that? With training, I have hit the ground running with a lot of training stuff and have a lot more that we're doing and planning on doing. I've been 3 different times with the Fort Dodge Fire Department doing some advanced life support training with their crews, with paramedics and EMTs, with cardiology, cardiac related emergencies. Dr. Lewis also is involved in that. And to Gowrie for a training on pediatric respiratory emergencies with them. And I'm farming that class out to whoever is willing to let me come and do it. It kind of, people are very busy this time of year too with their departments and, attendance at their meetings tends to wax and wane, throughout the year, which is understandable with life stuff that goes on in the summers. So I might wait a little bit until we get towards the fall where we have better attendance at those meetings to do some of the trainings, but I've got one in the books for Barnum coming up. Dayton, we're working on doing a training with them. Otho, I have one at Otho that I'll be doing this month with helicopter landing zone training with them, another helicopter landing zone training with Barnum. And that's really cool because we get the helicopter to come to those trainings. They'll come and land the helicopter and just, and as you probably know, we've had helicopter related emergencies. We've utilized the helicopter here and just in the county recently, one in Dayton and one in Barnum. And so we're getting a lot of that happening. And as you obviously probably can appreciate, working around a helicopter can be very dangerous. And so there's a lot of logistical components that go with that. So it's just a way to help make that run smoother and talk through the process of how you interact with the helicopter crews and what kind of information they need for landing zone stuff. The helicopter needs very specific landing zone parameters and things like that they have to have, and how to communicate with them on radio and things like that. So yeah, that'll be good. That's ongoing, and hopefully as we continue, I've also developed a kind of a 12-month training schedule for all the departments, whoever wants to or is interested in having me do that, to come out even on a monthly basis and do monthly training with them, because all of the emergency and medical responders, EMTs and paramedics are required to have a certain number of continuing education to recertify their licensure. And so I put together a kind of 12-month rotating schedule that will cover, in their 2-year certification period, will cover all the topics they need to recertify their licensure. And they don't have to get them all from me in that way, in that context. They can get them, some of them, they can get online. There's conferences that people go to get those continuing ed hours, but I'm hoping just to kind of fill the gaps where there are some, if people can't make it to a conference, or if, oftentimes people get busy and now they have to recertify in March every year, their licensure. And if they identify, oh man, I need 8 more hours and it's January, what am I going to do? I think that's where I can come in, and I'll come out to your department if we want to do 4 hours on a Saturday, 4 hours the Saturday after that. We can sit down and bang out those hours, and I can cater it to whatever they need to get the required education and training that they need for their recertification. So I think that's good. Sometimes it's hard to find that. And some people don't like doing the training online. It's a little impersonal. It's hard to sometimes learn what you need to learn. And so an in-person training sometimes is better for people, but again, just to help fill the training gaps if there are some that people need. And that's all I have.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. Item 6, discuss and approve items from EMS's coordinators update if appropriate. I think we kind of already went through that. So we can cross that one off. Item 7, discuss and approve portable radio purchase limit. Chief Price, I think
This
this
is
is
me.
something you wanted on there, yeah?
I talked to John at Unplugged. So you remember we made a motion for Scott to have a radio. The one that he tested, he did not prefer. So he didn't like it. I'm not gonna say it was junk, but I'll let that to him. So to get a an 8,000 series radio, which is what we all use, is $7,200 rather than 6,500 or something. So, but we didn't have a motion high enough to do that. So Scott's still borrowing and begging for a radio. So I would like to procedurally change that for Scott and make a motion to increase the radio budget limit to $7,500.
Okay, have a motion?
I'll,
I have a
Sure.
second. Discussion? Were you gonna say something, Scott?
Yeah, what was the last one we approved was 5,000? What did we
It
approve
was
last?
6.
6,000. Okay, so
500.
they,
So just clarifying, so they make us, so they make it, we all use 8,000s. They make it 6,000, but it doesn't have VHF. And we occasionally use that. So for you to get pages, you would probably want that. So. And that's the radio that will be phased out eventually. So just
there was some,
bite the bullet, get the one that everybody uses and move
there
on.
was some functionality with this one that I didn't like. It just, I kept hitting the transmit button. It's really temperamental transmit button. So if I would sneeze, I would hit the transmit button, and it just was a little bit too easy to transmit on that thing. I just bump it on things or put my seatbelt on and I'm hitting the transmit button. I need something that's just a little bit less hair trigger with the transmit button, I think.
Any other conversation?
Super.
Huh?
Super exciting.
Sounds good to me. Thanks for talking it out a little more.
Right? All those in favor say aye.
I
Opposed? The motion carries. All right. We are at item 8, discuss and approve spending discretion limit for EMS coordinator. It wasn't an action item, Chief Price.
That's why we skipped it over.
We did have a discussion on this during, at
how
item
much
5.
do you think is, what's the number?
Can't imagine I would ever need to more than 5,000. I can't imagine, maybe even 2,500.
Because that's what, whatever so currently, like Crystal was alluding to, so the budget's built so that you come off the top. We don't have that line item for whatever this is in the budget. So we'll have to put that in the budget so that you
Yeah.
have some sort of thing to pull
Yeah.
this from.
we never set that up to start with.
No, which it's we've got to have something for incidental. So it's like that, but that way he can, whatever, if he needs to buy a pen, he doesn't need to come to our board for approval for that.
For example, those patches, like, I'm making those patches, that order of patches is going to be like $850 or something. And that for me is even, I think, a big ticket item. The only other things at the front end that might be big ticket items are going to be like the monitor.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things. Some of the medical equipment, maybe, I don't know, a suction unit, those are expensive. But that's a one-time purchase, and then I've got them.
Did you think you could just kind of, and I know it's out there, come up with an idea, like maybe for the next meeting, like what's it gonna cost for, like you say, a suction machine or this? Just give us like a ballpark idea of roughly what they might be.
I have
the
a,
same thing.
can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Well, I guess I'm asking Chief Price, with the city, don't you guys have like a spending limit before you have to come to council?
Yes.
What is that? It's much larger than 5,000, I'm pretty sure.
It's 5,000. So.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, mine's 5. The city manager is 25, and then everything after that comes to you.
Okay. I mean, we don't have to recreate the wheel here, and we can just do what other places do. I guess that's my suggestion. And I mean, if you think 2,500 is enough, then we could just do that. But I feel like 5,000 gives you a little wiggle room.
I think maybe that's the best way to, let's get him a spending limit and then come back with what do you think the budget line item needs to be? Is it 5, 10, whatever that is? If it's much more than that, we'll have, we'll have to adjust
We could adjust it. for
things
them.
pretty heavily if it's a $50,000 thing or something. So
Sounds good.
Because currently, we're only working off of fiscal year 26, what we have left, correct? And Crystal knows that, and you know that.
Yep.
So as long as it's within what we have left, and then we can budget that in a line item on the next budget. But for right now, to okay something today, so that he can go ahead and not wait till the next meeting to be able to buy stuff, what do you suggest?
What do you?
I'll make a
think?
motion I would like to make an EMS coordinator spending discretion limit for $2,500. And I'd like to move make a line item in the budget for $5,000. And we can always adjust from there.
Perfectly acceptable to me.
So the 5,000 in year 27, or would you need more than that? So you're just gonna budget in 5,000 for incidentals or whatever?
There'll be a line.
Before we can have any discussion, I do have a motion on the table, so it would need a second.
I'll second.
Second.
Oops, sorry.
Barb,
Yeah, so it would be another line, like Scott's got like already in there, the MS coordinators, whatever, salary, benefits, whatever, there'd be just another 5,000 thing for incidental.
All right. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Opposed? The motion carries. Item 9, discuss regular schedule of financial reports. You kind of did that here, right? Anything else on that? Price or Scott?
I don't, unless Crystal has anything she wants to add to that. But like I said, we've got, the list of, Crystal broke down the list of who's spent what, who has what left. And all
I think that would be something you could probably just meet with people. Yeah, or email it or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get it out. Make sure everybody knows where they're at, I
Sure.
guess would be the best. And I guess too, looking at this, because this, it's going to follow the budget flow, whatever it's hard to start thinking about that now, but like in October, we'll think about next July. So in 3 months, we'll be thinking about a year from now. So that's something to get to people too. Hey, you got to be ahead of the game on your budget, not reactive, proactive.
Good point.
Sounds good.
Okay, any further discussion on item 9?
Oh,
I do have a question on it. Is the EMS board wanting to see, because I haven't gone through this with Scott yet, but are you guys wanting to see a breakdown of like who's spending what, like once a quarter? Are you guys wanting to see any of these reports?
I missed like half of that.
Sorry, I'm also at a baseball game right now. So, is the EMS board wanting to see some of these detailed reports for how much each agency or each department is spending? Or like once a quarter, twice a year? Like, is there something that you guys want to see? Scott and I haven't discussed that quite yet.
What did we talked about like last year? Do you remember?
I think
Quarterly?
I think we said quarterly, did
I
we
thought so
not?
too. Yeah.
Like what they,
And that can go through Scott too.
yeah, because you
Right.
could pull that and just send an email out.
Look who's here.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks, Crystal.
Thank you.
That was really cute. All right. Item 10, open discussion on items not on the agenda.
I do have one thing. That's come up kind of since, well, it came up a while ago, but we just have been kind of meeting and addressing it recently in the past few days. So we've identified an issue with lift assists in the county, out in the county. I know there's been a change in the lift assist process, here in the city of Fort Dodge, but we also had several, and Christy kind of pointed out a few of them, calls for lift assists in the county. And it kind of opened up a can of worms because we identified kind of a problem with how do we categorize that? Is it just a public assist or is it an actual medical call, a medical emergency? How are we thinking of that? And I think what we landed on is that the most responsible way to probably look at that is it's really a medical call. Because now, do people call and just need help up off the floor? Yes, absolutely, that happens. But 30 to 40% of lift assists are actually the result of a medical emergency. That somebody's having some increased weakness, and there've been cases where we get multiple lift assists and then it turns into a catastrophic medical emergency. So it's kind of a red flag, a warning sign that people are giving us that, hey, I'm deteriorating or have an acute event that's happening and they don't recognize it. Strokes or even metabolic problems that people have, they don't realize sometimes patients aren't aware of their own medical condition that they're having. And so I really think what we landed on was that those people, even though it comes in as a lift assist, really should be evaluated by an EMS provider of some kind. On the south end of the county with Dayton and Gowrie, when they get a lift assist call, and those are the two transporting ambulances in the south end of the county, when they get a lift assist call, the ambulance goes and does an evaluation and assessment of those people. We haven't been doing that consistently on the north end of the county, which would be kind of Fort Dodge's EMS area. Not that they're opposed to doing it. And that's kind of what we landed on, is that the way it's kind of been running is it's been left to fire department, first responder agencies, but we haven't had sometimes the availability of those departments to respond to those. And, recently there was an incident where somebody laid on the floor for probably an unacceptable amount of time because there were several pages that went out to several departments and nobody responded, and they weren't able to respond, which is going to happen. But at the same time, I think the responsible thing is to not just let somebody lay on the floor. And so what we kind of landed on, and I talked to Matt and Christy about it, is that, and I'll let Christy address the dispatch component of it, that we're going to change the dispatch parameters to say that on the north end of the county, we're going to automatically dispatch the ambulance from Fort Dodge Fire Department to respond to those, if and along with the first responder agency that's up there, and maybe another one if they don't respond. If that first responder group gets there and somebody who's got a medical certification says it's legitimately just a lift assist, they could potentially cancel Fort Dodge Fire. I don't know if we worked out all those details yet, but we want to get that ambulance headed that direction so that in the event that somebody can't respond, we know somebody's coming to get that person up off the floor. Did I miss anything? Matt and Christy?
Christy Lumsden, Webster County Dispatch.
Yeah.
I think you did really, really good on that. Covered a lot of the bases. Basically just a unified approach for dispatch. So that way they don't have to think, okay, we do first responders for A, B, and C, but then D, E, and F, we're going to do EMS. Like Scott said, there's been a couple of calls where, we're just trying to find the etiology of it. What was the reason for the fall? And, we've had ones where people are on the ground and they might have been on the ground for a substantial amount of time and they don't want EMS, but we're just trying to have that standard of care already there. So that way, maybe they're confused, or if they have a low blood sugar or whatever it is, they may not know. So if EMS is heading there and they get disregarded, great. That's a great thing. But if not, it helps patient care. It just cuts down the time on when responders can get there. So we're trying to be proactive.
And it really makes it consistent with the way we're doing it and with the Dayton and Gowrie ambulances. They do that. They respond to all those lift assists. And so at that point, they're getting a medical assessment from an EMT or an EMR or somebody who's got a medical certification that can say, this person really just needs a lift assist. They're fine.
All we do is we'll go to the lift assist and obviously do our evaluation. And then if they don't want to anywhere, we have to sign a non-transport. It's their signature, their call. So that's kind of how we handle that.
Yeah, basically Scott, they brought this to me. It was like, we hadn't been doing lift assists. This dates back to pre-essential service and everything. And I'm not really sure how it got to be this way, because this was the way this was before me, I guess is how to say that. So I'm all for making it consistent. So whatever, if everybody else is, it's just easier for them too. So, and like we said, it happens all the time in town where we end up on a lift assist that's actually a stroke or something else that's supposed to, they don't want the ambulance, but then as soon as they get there, they're like, oh, I have all this stuff going on too. And you're like, do you know how bad that is? So it turns into something else.
Elimination of guessing games out of dispatch, because there's nothing worse than having about a handful of emergencies going on all at once and then thinking back, okay, no one's responded to this one. Where am I going to go now? Who do we go to if the second agency is also unavailable? At least we know Fort Dodge would be en route, or EMS would be en route at that time in those areas.
Do you have opportunity at the time? Because I know in the past that they're, in the area, they would call 911 because they just wanted to get their husband in the car, taken
Absolutely.
to the doctor. So you can
Mhm.
ask that.
They can. We're trying not to get it as abused as it has been in the past. Like, yeah.
So you don't send out the ambulance if you're just looking,
Well,
you need a
so
help.
we
to get to
kind
the
of
call.
just are trying to spin our wheels on the best way to do the.
There's no
optimal
other
patient
service
care.
that the county has to help with an elderly couple and she can't get him to the car. And they live out in the country or whatever the case may be. I know it's
Yeah.
called the fire department to have them come
Mhm.
just to help them get in the car, so they go to the doctor's appointment. And I didn't know if you could,
Yeah, this is definitely in the primary stages, but we're just trying to put together.
so you don't have EMS en route.
Well, normally, yes, as of right now, you would have, if it's out in the county, if it's on the northern part, you would just have a first responder. So you would have like Vincent heading there. And if they're busy or they're unavailable to go, then we'd page them out 3 times, 3 minutes apart. So that's 9 minutes that patient. I mean, yeah, if it's just for an appointment and they're running 9 minutes late to appointment isn't as bad, but if they're actually in medical
Sure,
crisis, it's not.
you can't,
It's hard to differentiate. We were looking at some data today and we need more consistent data to make a firm stance on that. But I mean, we're just trying to play it safe right now.
right. Oh, yeah. you
That,
have to.
maybe
You
that's what
have
they
to.
can do. Yeah.
If there's no other service in the county that somebody can just call, you need help getting your husband to the
That
car
would
to
be a
go
great
to the
startup
doctor.
business for someone.
Yeah.
That's when you call the elevator. Yeah,
All right.
I was kidding, Christie.
Put us out of a job, Barb.
Thank you.
Thanks, Christie.
All right. Anything else before we move on? From anyone? Okay, item 11 is next steps and action items. Do we have any action items for today?
Scott, do you want help doing the annual report this year?
Yes.
Make us like a committee, a subcommittee of some variety to help do that, because
Because Matt would love to help you.
That likes numbers.
Yes, I would welcome any help,
Excited.
especially the first one, this specific thing isn't something I've done before, so I'm not going to pretend I know everything when I don't. So I would welcome any help from that, just to get off on the right foot and know that, especially in the future, we've got a good
That-
template.
to try to stay on track with this, we should
Yeah.
probably try to get it done.
Yeah.
soon. By next meeting, maybe. So much willing help.
Looks like we've got our subcommittee, so next steps would be the subcommittee to meet.
We will deliver such a thing at next meeting.
Great.
Yeah. That's the next step.
That's item 11B, next meeting. meet when?
I suppose we're gonna need some time.
Yep.
Have a week.
Mm. Mm.
We usually meet like once a month.
Yeah, like first.
Wanna
second week of
continue
August,
that?
maybe. August 5, or is that gonna mess up? You guys don't have,
Can I make a request for it to be in the beginning of August? Grape harvest is at the end of August, so I'll be busy.
Beth, would that work for you?
August 5. What's that?
That's great for you to be chair that week.
August 5th is on a Wednesday.
I will be in Canada.
Ooh, ooh.
I will be,
August
I will
5th?
have no internet access.
August 5th?
August 5th doesn't work for Scott.
No, I have a child passenger seat training in Waukee that whole week until 5 every day.
Well, what about?
12, the
12.
12th would work?
It brings me great joy. I won't, trust me.
So we're doing the 12th then?
What do you think, Megan? You want to propose that? You want to motion that?
Oh, sure. I'd move that we have our next meeting on August 12th at 5:30 in the Webster County Courthouse or virtually.
And Cassie, if you're not here, we'll get meeting minutes. Does that sound good to everybody else? Do I have a second?
I'll make a second.
Wonderful. All those in favor say aye.
Bye.
Opposed? The motion carries. If there's no further business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you so much.